The last time I saw Marcus Avery, he was slipping a diamond ring onto my finger under the golden trees of Central Park. I said yes, laughing through tears, while tourists clapped and strangers filmed us like we were part of some dreamy movie scene. That was 6 months ago. Today, I saw him again, but not in person. I saw him on Instagram, wearing a tuxedo, smiling wide, standing beside a woman in a wedding dress. Her caption said it all. Mrs. Avery, October 16th, 2023. My name is Lila Brennan. I'm 28 years old. I'm supposed to be someone's fiancé, someone's future. Instead, I'm just another idiot with an unused wedding Pinterest board and a ring that means nothing. We met 3 years ago at a wedding in Vermont. Marcus was the best man. I was the maid of honor. We spent most of the weekend making fun of the groom's terrible dance moves, and by Sunday morning he was texting me like he already knew we were inevitable. He was charming, consistent, successful in that suit and watch kind of way, the kind of man you trust without thinking twice. We moved in together after 8 months, talked about marriage like it was already a given. He met my family, cried with me at my uncle's funeral, kissed my dog goodnight. He was perfect, until he vanished. A few weeks after our engagement, Marcus said he had to fly to LA for a huge pitch. High-profile client, big opportunity. He promised to FaceTime every night. Said, this trip could change everything. He was right, just not in the way I expected. The FaceTimes never happened. The texts grew short, cold, mechanical. When I asked if something was wrong, he said, I just need space to focus. I believed him, because why wouldn't I? Then came the photo, the tux, the bride, the betrayal. I stared at the screen until it blurred. I read the comments under the post like they might unlock a secret that made it all make sense. There was no mistake, no misunderstanding. Marcus Avery, the man who proposed to me, had married someone else. No warning, no breakup, just a vanishing act with a finale I hadn't been invited to. But if he thought I'd stay quiet, he clearly forgot who he proposed to. Before the ring, before the betrayal, Marcus Avery was the man who made me believe in timing. I wasn't looking for anyone when we met. My friend Amber dragged me to her cousin's wedding in Vermont after my long-term breakup with a guy who ghosted me just before our lease ended. I was still raw, still licking wounds, still trying to rebuild my confidence. Marcus was different from the moment we locked eyes. He wasn't flashy, but he had presence. Tall, tailored, just the right amount of scruff. His smile was calm, like he knew things the rest of us were still trying to figure out. He walked over to me at the rehearsal dinner and said, I hope you're not allergic to dancing with a stranger. It was cheesy, and it worked. That weekend, we were inseparable. We danced, we laughed, we shared way too much champagne and even more secrets. The morning after the wedding, he brought me coffee before my hangover even hit. Then he asked if he could fly out to New York the following weekend to see what this was. That was Marcus. Intentional, smooth, almost too good to be true. We dated long distance for 2 months, him in Chicago, me in Brooklyn. Then he got a remote promotion, and we made the move. First, it was just a drawer at my place, then a closet, then a toothbrush. And then, like a movie fast-forwarding, we were picking out wall art and arguing about throw pillows. He blended into my life so seamlessly it scared me. My friends loved him. My mom adored him. My dad was suspicious, but he's suspicious of everyone, so that didn't count. We didn't have the kind of relationship that exploded or burned bright and then faded. It was steady, consistent, comforting. He made me laugh, held my hand in crowded rooms, kissed my forehead when I was overworked. When he asked about my career in nonprofit development, he actually listened, even when I ranted about donor spreadsheets and budget meetings. By year 2, We were talking marriage like it was already agreed upon. We joked about having a brunch-themed wedding. He even said he wanted to name our dog Mimosa. So when he proposed under the red gold leaves of Central Park, surrounded by hidden photographers and a live violinist, I didn't question it. I said yes, and I meant it with every part of me. What I didn't know, what I couldn't have imagined, is that the entire time he was planning that perfect proposal, he was also maintaining a life I knew nothing about. I should have seen the signs, the late-night calls labeled work, the business trips that kept getting extended, the way he never let me meet his family, always making vague excuses like, "My mom's sick," or "My dad's not a fan of strangers." But I made excuses for him. I thought he was a private person. I thought love meant patience. What love didn't mean, I now understand, is silence. The kind of silence that hides an entirely different fiancé on the West Coast. Because that's what I learned later. Marcus wasn't just cheating. He had a second life. One where I was the affair. One where I was the placeholder while he built his real future. When I called him after seeing the wedding post, it went straight to voicemail. I tried again. And again. Eventually, I got a text. "I'm sorry, Lila. I didn't know how to tell you. I hope one day you'll understand." Understand? Number. But I would make sure he did, because I wasn't going to be a chapter in his hidden story. I was going to be the headline in his downfall. After the text, 12 words, no emotion, no explanation, I didn't cry. Not at first. I stared at the screen until it went black, until the only reflection staring back at me was my own. Wide-eyed, numb, and holding a phone that felt radioactive in my hand. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was insulting. I wasn't just mourning a relationship. I was mourning reality. The time, the choices, the holidays spent smiling next to him in photos I now couldn't look at without flinching. I wasn't the fiancé. I was a placeholder, a supporting character in a script where he'd already written the happy ending with someone else. But he made one mistake. He didn't cover his tracks well enough. The wedding photos were public. So was her name, Savannah Whitmore. The captions from her friends told me everything I needed to know. So happy for the most beautiful bride and her incredible man, Marcus. High school sweethearts finally made it official. High school sweethearts? Marcus told me he grew up in Oregon, but his family moved when he was 16. He claimed he lost touch with everyone back home. So why was he now married to someone he supposedly hadn't seen in over a decade? Because he never lost touch. He had been in touch the entire time. He'd been with her. For at least the last year. I created a burner Instagram and followed Savannah's profile. She was private, but her friends weren't. I found tagged photos, birthday shout-outs, behind-the-scenes moments leading up to the wedding. He had taken her to Napa the same weekend he told me he was at a digital marketing conference in Phoenix. I started connecting dots, timelines, cross-referencing receipts I'd found in his pockets, reservations I had once thought were work-related. It was all there, hidden in plain sight. I didn't tell my friends right away. I didn't want pity. I didn't want that awkward silence after the "oh my God." I needed clarity first, strategy, not comfort. But I did tell one person, my coworker Jade. She was the kind of friend who didn't try to fix you, just handed you a drink and let you burn through your feelings. She said something I'll never forget. "You don't get closure from people like that, Lila. You build it, brick by damn brick." So I started building. I combed through everything I still had access to, joint emails we used to plan our own wedding, Dropbox files, shared documents, Google calendars. Marcus hadn't scrubbed a thing. That's when I found it. His business pitch deck for a new real estate project. A high-profile launch. One that was being presented in San Francisco. under his name and Savannah's. Apparently, they were opening a boutique design firm together, Whitmore and Avery Interiors. There was even a soft launch scheduled for the winter, articles, branding materials, a teaser campaign. It wasn't just a betrayal of love, it was a betrayal of trust, identity, and public image. And suddenly, I saw the opportunity, because Marcus thought he had left me behind in the wreckage. He had no idea I was already inside the walls of his new world. And if he wanted to build his happily ever after on lies, then I was going to make sure they collapsed, spectacularly. I knew I couldn't destroy Marcus with emotion. Men like him don't respond to anger. They deflect, they spin, they gaslight. I'd seen it before, the way he'd made exes sound crazy, the way he turned every misstep into a misunderstanding. So if I wanted to hit him where it would actually hurt, I had to go where he lived, his image, his career, his carefully curated facade of being a successful businessman with impeccable taste and a perfect new wife. He'd already handed me the blueprint, literally. In his Dropbox folder were drafts of the Whitmore and Avery Interiors website, branding proposals, and a PR calendar for their official launch. One of the PDF files even had a login for their beta site platform. Sloppy. I didn't hack anything. I didn't need to. He'd shared access with me months ago, back when he asked me to proofread some copy for a freelance client. It was never a client. It was her. The first thing I did was gather evidence, screenshots, emails, booking confirmations, timestamps, pictures of Marcus and me in places he claimed he'd been with Savannah. I organized everything in a clean, professional-looking Google Drive folder labeled Overlap and Deception. Each file was dated and sourced. Then I wrote a letter, not to Marcus, to Savannah. You and I don't know each other, but we should, because the man you married proposed to me less than 6 months ago. While he was building a life with you, he was living with me. While you planned a wedding, I was planning one too. I've attached documents, photos, proof, no games, no drama, just truth. Whatever you choose to do with it, just know I'm done staying silent. I scheduled the email with the link to the Google Drive. I set it to send the night before their company's brand launch party. But I wasn't done. I knew that event was going to be their public debut, as a couple, as business partners, as some aspirational, Instagrammable power duo. I knew the venue, I knew the guest list. I even knew the name of the local lifestyle influencer they'd invited to cover the event live. So I sent her an anonymous tip, complete with select screenshots and a Dropbox link of curated receipts. Just enough to crack the illusion. Nothing defamatory. Just documented, time-stamped truth. The kind that speaks louder than gossip ever could. But the real blow? I uploaded a 90-second slideshow video, soft music, elegant transitions, using Canva, and posted it on a fake account posing as an interior design blog. The caption? Would you trust your dream home to a man who builds his future on lies? This is Marcus Avery, twice engaged, once secretly married, always deceiving. The video ended with side-by-side images, me and Marcus in Central Park during our engagement, and Marcus with Savannah on their wedding day. The timestamps overlapped. It went live 1 hour before their launch. Within 30 minutes, it had over 8,000 views and was being shared in design circles on Twitter and LinkedIn. Then the comments started, then the reposts, then the questions. And as I sat at home in my pajamas with a glass of wine, watching the whole thing unfold from my laptop, I didn't feel cruel. I felt clear. Because Marcus didn't just ghost me, he tried to erase me. And now his perfect little empire was about to learn, you can't build anything real on a foundation of betrayal. The launch party was held at an upscale rooftop venue in downtown San Francisco. Glass walls, live string quartet, champagne towers, and all the curated minimalism you'd expect from a design firm trying to impress a room full of real estate investors and luxury media. Marcus looked like he always did: crisp navy suit, polished smile, effortless charm. Savannah was at his side, radiant in a white satin jumpsuit, waving to guests and clutching a branded folder of their new company deck like it was her birthright. But beneath all the gloss, things were unraveling. The influencer I tipped off? She went live on Instagram as she arrived, tagging the event, snapping shots of the decor, sipping a cocktail. But by her third story, her tone had shifted. She paused mid-video and whispered, "Wait, is this the guy from the TikTok?" Then she turned her camera around, zoomed in on Marcus, and added a poll. "Same guy?" Yes, no. It didn't take long. By the time Marcus took the stage to introduce the brand, the room was buzzing. Phones lit up, side glances multiplied. A junior associate from a design mag pulled up my slideshow and showed it to her editor, who quietly turned on his heels and left. Then Savannah's phone buzzed, and buzzed again. She looked down. Her smile faltered. For the first time all evening, her hand slipped from Marcus's. He didn't notice at first. He was too busy basking in the spotlight, thanking sponsors and talking about trust in design and building legacies that last. Then he turned to gesture at Savannah, and she was gone. Just gone. No dramatic exit, no slap, just a ghost of a woman who had seen too much, too fast, and walked away. He blinked, paused, tried to keep going, but his voice cracked just enough for the audience to sense the fracture. And fractures? They spread fast. Within the hour, someone uploaded a recording of his speech, clipped right before he stuttered with a comment, "Bro just found out he's been exposed mid-launch and kept talking about integrity. I'm crying." It went viral. By midnight, Chuck Whitmore and Avery was trending on Twitter, for all the wrong reasons. Savannah didn't release a statement. She didn't have to. The morning after the party, the brand's website was offline. The launch campaign was wiped from Instagram. Several investors posted vague comments about reevaluating partnerships. And Marcus? He finally called me. Blocked number. 6:13 a.m. I let it go to voicemail. His voice was hoarse, slow. "Lila, I don't know what you did, but you didn't have to burn everything down." Didn't I? No apology, no remorse. Just another attempt to shift the blame, as if I had stolen something from him. But I hadn't. I had simply returned the favor. He lit the match when he lied to me. I just made sure the world saw the fire. In the days after the launch party imploded, everything went quiet. Eerily quiet. Whitmore and Avery Interiors never posted again. Their LinkedIn page was deleted. Their domain redirected to a blank landing page. News outlets didn't run the story publicly, but the industry circles buzzed with whispered versions. That someone had exposed Marcus Avery as a liar, that the firm collapsed before it could land a single client, that Savannah Whitmore cut ties immediately. People don't need full details to understand when something stinks, especially when that something is rotten from the foundation up. I never got another call from Marcus after the voicemail. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Because there was nothing left to say. He didn't lose me to a mistake. He lost me to deliberate deception, to arrogance, to the belief that I'd stay silent while he rewrote reality. But the world doesn't work like that anymore. I didn't shout. I didn't threaten. I didn't even post anything under my own name. I just told the truth, strategically. And when truth is delivered the right way, it doesn't just clear your name. It clears the entire room. Savannah never contacted me. But I heard through mutual channels that she walked out that night, drove 2 hours north to her sister's house, and hasn't spoken to Marcus since. A month later, a business newsletter casually mentioned that a promising new design firm had disbanded due to undisclosed internal issues. No one said the real reason, but they didn't have to. The silence became its own kind of justice. As for me, I moved on, not all at once, and not like flipping a switch. Healing never works that cleanly, but piece by piece, I started rebuilding the version of my life that wasn't tied to him. I donated the engagement ring, quietly, to a women's shelter fundraiser. I cleared our shared cloud folders, deleted our photos, changed my apartment layout. I even went to Central Park, alone this time, stood in the exact spot where he proposed, and didn't cry. I just stood there, alive, unbroken, free. Eventually, I started talking about it, not in viral videos or dramatic threads, but in real conversations. I told friends. I laughed at the absurdity of it. I even shared parts of the story with women I met in support groups for betrayal survivors. Turns out, there are so many of us, and most of us never get justice. But I did. Because I didn't just survive Marcus Avery, I exposed him, and in doing so, I reclaimed the one thing he never expected me to take back: my power. It's funny how betrayal teaches you the difference between silence and peace. For weeks after the fallout, I didn't want to hear Marcus's name. Every mention scraped raw. Every reminder made my chest tighten. But one morning, as I was walking past a flower shop near my office, I saw a couple laughing in front of a bouquet stand, completely absorbed in each other, and I didn't think of him. That was the first moment I realized he didn't own the word love, and he sure as hell didn't own my future. The truth is, Marcus didn't break me. He showed me what was already cracked. He showed me how much I had been willing to overlook in the name of love. How I silenced my instincts, excused red flags, and poured energy into a man who never deserved the kind of loyalty I gave him so freely. And I don't regret loving him, because that version of me, the woman who believed, who committed, who planned a future, was never weak. She was genuine. She gave all of herself because she thought it was safe to do so. That's not naive. That's brave. And now I've learned to give that love to myself. Not in cliché bubble bath kind of ways, but in quiet, grown-up decisions. I say no faster now. I ask harder questions. I don't apologize for expecting clarity. One day I'll love again. I'll say yes to someone who shows up fully, without shadows, without secrets. And when I do, I'll know the difference between a partner and a performance. As for Marcus, he disappeared as quickly as he tried to erase me. Maybe he's rebuilding his life somewhere. Maybe he's telling a different version of the story, one where I'm the villain, the scorned woman, the crazy ex who sabotaged his happiness. Let him. Because I don't need to control the narrative anymore. I lived it, I survived it, and I came out of it sharper, calmer, and a hell of a lot stronger. People say revenge is a dish best served cold. But honestly, healing in public is the loudest kind of revenge, and I've never been more at peace.